people do not like when you stand on business. When you stand on business, when you stand your ground, when you keep your boundaries, when you don't let people get over on you, they will not like you. You will suddenly be the mean girl. You will suddenly be the villain, and that's okay. Sometimes it's okay for people to think that you're a twitch because they know not to try you. See, people who are jealous and envious of you, they want you to have this subservient attitude that says you want their attention, you want their acceptance so much that you allow them to run over top of you. But when you stand on your business and you don't care about their negativity, their jealousy, and you definitely don't let them bully you, you are going to be the mean girl. You're going to be the mean auntie. You're going to be the mean cousin. You're going to be the one they said has changed. You're going to be the one that they say, you're mean. You don't like us no more. You don't do this. You don't do that. Suddenly now you're the bully, all because you stand your ground. I'd rather be perceived as being mean by people who want to take advantage of me than those who truly appreciate me. People who only respect you and love you when they're allowed to take advantage of you, they don't really love you. People who really care and love you and want to be around you in a good way, they don't desire to control you. But when people want to control you, they want you to have that subservient attitude that says, I can do and say whatever I want to you and you'll accept it because you need me around. And when you develop that big girl mentality, that feminine queen energy, you start realizing, I respect myself enough to not let people take advantage of me. This leads me to what happened. I heard the Dear Future Wifey podcast with this lady and her husband who's supposed to be a pastor. And she glorified in the fact that she, for a very long time, allowed him to cheat on her. I'm not saying it was her fault, but she put up with different things that she should not have put up with for a very long time simply because she had no self-worth. And not only that, she allowed a man, you shouldn't allow anyone, but she allowed this man to convince her that she had no self-worth. She actually found some kind of pride in saying that, she's his starter, even though he has other players. That was his cute, trifling way of saying that he loves her, but he also likes being with other women. She was even so foolish to say that God actually graced her to iron his clothes while he prepared to go see his side chicks. If that's not a woman that lacks confidence and not self-aware and just a little bit foolish, I don't know what is. And I'm not saying this to shame that sister. I'm saying that to make the point that as women, you have to value yourself so much so that you're not going to let somebody brainwash you into believing that love is somehow control, that love is somehow spiritual, mental, physical manipulation. Because if you are not strong enough mentally, spiritually, as a woman, people will take advantage of you. And when you wake up and realize, no, I deserve more than what you're giving me. And this lady, unfortunately, she's, I think, 20 years, 25 years into her marriage. I don't know if her husband is still doing those things. I would hope not. But she actually justified, and she did what a lot of women do, because you're not ready to deal with whatever's happening. You justify the bad behavior of other people instead of standing on business and not taking it, saying, I'm not dealing with this. Either you change your behavior or I'm out. Either you change your ways or I'm matching your energy. I don't agree with matching the energy of anybody. That's not a peaceful life. But the point being, when you stand on business, there are going to be people that will not like you. You're going to be the mean one. You're going to be the villain. And sometimes that is okay. And only women who are people pleasers and afraid of what other people are going to think, they allow people to take advantage, manipulate, and overall make them feel bad for not letting them treat them badly. When you don't allow people to treat you badly, it's amazing how suddenly they gaslight you into believing that you are the problem. And this is another thing that wise, confident, feminine women do not fall for. Don't let people with their jealous, envious, toxic, miserable, manipulative ways gaslight you into believing that you're the problem simply because you don't want to put up with their bad behavior. There is nothing graceful about a woman allowing people to take advantage of her. But when you don't do that, you have to expect that there are going to be some people that are going to say you're a problem. You see this oftentimes in workplaces and even in families. Let's talk about the workplace for a moment. In workplaces, when you are no longer interested in going along and playing the game and, allowing people to kind of talk to you however they want, when you no longer, overlook that Miss Karen or Miss Susie or Miss Tashia or whoever is sitting back talking about you, but then smiling in your face, when you start treating them according to their actions and not according to what code says, you're going to be a problem. When you get quiet, because a lot of people see silence as a weapon, unfortunately, they don't see it as a woman minding her business. So if you're a woman who says, you know what, I'm not playing the game anymore with these people, I'm just going to be quiet, that will also make you be a problem in the eyes of some people who wish you ran your mouth so much so that they can find something against you. I tell you, and this is nothing preachy, but I read this proverb, I believe Proverbs or Psalm the other day, where it said, and a multitude of words, sin is not lacking. Meaning the more you talk, eventually you can get yourself caught up in something. And when you suddenly get silent and say, I'm not playing with these bozos at the job, I don't have time for this, I'm getting quiet, I'm staying to myself, you will also be perceived as the mean one, as standoffish, as awkward. And it's okay. I'd rather be perceived as awkward, standoffish, or quiet instead of letting people drag me into their mess. Don't be afraid of awkward silence. When people want to control and manipulate you in some way, especially in these workplaces, because a lot of these managers, they'll come to you under the guise of saying, I'm concerned about you. You're not yourself. Is everything okay? Remember, your workplace, your managers, your coworkers, they are not your friends. They are not your family. These people are not there to cater to your emotions. You are there for their service, and in return, they pay you. So you don't owe them any explanation. And when you realize you don't really owe anybody an explanation and you move as such, there will be people who have an issue with you. When you suddenly stop talking to the fake auntie, the fake me mom, who you know for a fact has been trashing you behind your back, and you're no longer overlooking it, but you're not being bothered with them anymore. You're no longer coming to the family events. You're no longer giving gifts and celebrating this or that because you can't fake it to make it with people no more, which undoubtedly as a woman crosses over that 20 mark, I know for me, it started when I got into my 30s. That being fake and just kind of like, yeah, oh, that's cute. All that stopped. And because of that, I was perceived as mean. I was perceived as, oh, she act funny. That's okay. I'm funny in peace. I'm standoffish and awkward in peace. And when I stood on business, that's when life got better for me. And there's something about keeping people guessing too. When they're not in your head, like when you switch things up, you were one way and now you're different. That's not being fake. That's called evolution. That means you are evolving as a woman. You're changing, you're growing, which is what a lot of women do not do. And when they see other women changing, maturing, not dealing with the same foolishness they used to deal with when they were in their teens and their 20s, some of them are so stuck and stagnant, they take issue with you because you've changed and you don't let them take advantage and do what they used to do to you. You're standing on business. So don't ever feel bad because now people look at you as if you're the one who's so mean. You're the one who's the villain. You're the problem because you don't let them put their problems on you. That's okay. As women, we have to be more comfortable and more concerned with our peace of mind, with our way of life, with keeping our life organized and in order more than pleasing other people. If that makes them have a problem with you, if they suddenly become jealous of how you move and the fact that you just don't care, you have a more unbothered attitude, you really don't care, you're not triggered by the things they used to say and do, Because that's another thing. Oddly, people will actually dislike you and get upset with you because you no longer get upset by the things they try to do to you. They're mad at you because you chose peace over drama. You chose yourself over the toxicity that they wanted to offer you. See, sometimes when people can no longer disrespect you, when people can no longer talk to you however they want, when people can no longer offer you anything they want to offer because you have a standard, they don't like it. When you choose peace over their chaos, over their issues, over the things that they want to place on you, they will automatically dislike you. You have to understand, when you want to operate from a healthier place, when you mentally, physically, and spiritually have yourself together, people who are toxic will not be able to understand while they can no longer berate you, bully you, and intimidate you into doing and being what they want you to be. When you wake up to the fact that you have self-worth and self-value, and that you don't have to tolerate everybody's mess, that you don't have to tolerate foolishness, that you don't have to take the bait, people who are jealous, toxic, miserable people, they will automatically look at you as if you are a villain. You have to become accustomed to being the villain in somebody's story. For me, I'd rather be vilified for being positive, for choosing myself and choosing peace, rather than falling into the trap that people set for me. You see, anytime you're trying to do something in life, anytime you're trying to better yourself as a woman, you will have other people who come along. They don't like what you're doing. They'll see that you're trying to live a different way. Maybe you had a messier past. Maybe you used to be the kind of woman who was always into something, but you chose that you want peace for your life. You no longer want to be about that life, as they say. And people who are still in that old thing that you just escaped from, or people who are accustomed to you being more toxic, easily being able to manipulate you, they're going to start to treat you as if you're doing something wrong for living a better life. And when it comes to that, you have to not be afraid to leave toxic people behind. You cannot be afraid to cut people off. Now, when I say cut people off, I don't mean act like they don't exist. I don't mean, mistreat people, but I mean you have to put them as an afterthought in your thinking. I say that because some of the people that you may have to, quote, cut off are family members. And if this is a parent, aunt, a cousin, whoever, you might still love those people, but you're going to have to put them as a distant memory in your mind in order for you to thrive in your future. You cannot allow, my saying is, blood is thicker than water, but spirit is thicker than blood, which means if my blood aggravates my spirit, I cannot be bothered with you. If you cause me to feel tensed up, if you cause me to feel like I'm doing something wrong by living my life around you, I cannot be in your company. If you are the kind of person who looks at positivity and someone trying to live on the right path mentally, spiritually, and every other way, if you look at that as a negative, I cannot be bothered with you. Believe it or not, you have some people who are so jealous, so miserable, they'll be upset with you for being a better mom, a more present wife, for trying to do your very best at the things that you're doing. Some people are so accustomed to doing a half-hearted, for lack of a better word, half-hearted job at life, that when they see a woman who actually has standards and is trying to live her best life that she can, and not just skate by and get by in survival mode, because that's where a lot of haters live. A little sidebar. A lot of haters and jealous people live in struggle mode. They don't feel happy unless they're doing everything the hard way, because when they do everything the hard way, they get the opportunity to brag about how hard their life is. People who are toxic and miserable and jealous of you a lot of times, they like to brag about how hard their life is, about how if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be doing this. And if it wasn't for me, and I've been through this and I've been through that. They live in constant victimhood. And when you, as a woman who is more confident and understanding that the struggle is not your end story, that you don't live in a constant state of struggle. You might have had struggles, but you don't glorify the struggle. That you understand that life doesn't have to always be so hard, that you will have challenges in life, but you don't go seeking out challenges. People who are toxic and really don't understand that they have more control over their lives than what they do, they seek out the hard way of doing things, and they seek out the way of most resistance because it makes it easier for them to have an excuse as to why they could not better their lives. And thus, they can continue to hate on you. When you are leveling up and becoming a better woman, you cannot allow people who have that survival mode and struggle mindset to distract you from doing the thing that you're doing. When you have discovered, especially if you have God in your life, if you have discovered that God has made a way for you to be able to have a life that does not require you to always have struggle, heartache, issues, drama, jealousy, and fights with people, when you discover that, people who are still very much toxic and out there in that negative way of being, that negative energy, they are not going to like the fact that you no longer have to go through hoops and hurdles and dramas and issues in order to get the things that you need and want. You see, a lot of times life changes for you in a positive way when you get quiet. But toxic, miserable, jealous people, they don't understand that. They do a lot of talking. They do a lot of rah-rah. They do a lot of minding other people's business. And because of that, they miss out on opportunities a lot of times that God has placed before them. But you, with your newfound wisdom and understanding and your self-worth, you understand that in order to thrive, you can't be around the same people who are still doing those toxic, miserable things and has the mental mindset, has the mentality of struggle and strife. People who have the mindset of struggle and strife and drama, they can't get still enough to really get direction from God because they're too busy being busybodies in other people's issue. That's another thing that will change as you develop and grow as a woman. You will no longer be a busybody in other people's affairs, meaning you will not have time to constantly have your mouth on somebody else. You will not constantly have time to be gossiping about what so-and-so and them is doing, gossiping about what's going on in somebody else's life. You will be so laser focused on building up your own life and becoming the woman you want to become that you will not have time to entertain people who still have the lost mindset. And that's really what it comes down to. People who are toxic and miserable, and instead of looking at people as inspiration, they look at them and they hate on them and they're jealous of them. They're so distorted in their thinking that they try to distract you from focusing on what you're doing in your life. And when they realize they cannot distract you, they get mad. When they realize that, oh, so you're not worrying about me, like what, you're beneath this? Yes. As women, when you begin to be confident and level up in your life, you have to understand that certain things are beneath you. And it's okay to say that. Drama, bickering, arguing, and fighting about nothing, that is beneath you. You have to have that mentality that, and I'm going to throw out, if you've been on this channel any amount of time, once in a while I throw out a scripture at you. It says if you answer the foolish according to their foolishness, you become just like them. If you adopt the mentality of a person who is toxic and drama filled and they don't have anything else going on for their life, and what you have to understand, when I say going on for their life, a person can have a lot of money. A person can have influence, but if they do not have wisdom and they don't have the understanding on how to operate as a decent person, no amount of money or notoriety can make someone classy or a dignified person. A person who understands that living a life that is truly successful, number one, spiritually, you should have a relationship with God, but number two, Your class and decorum and the way you carry yourself and the mindset that you have, that is what makes you more of an elevated type of person. But a person, you can have all the money in the world, but if you're toxic and you're a busybody and you're a gossip and you're jealous and miserable, that is not a decent human being. So some people like to narrow down people to the amount of money they have, where they live, the clothing they wear. You have a lot of miserable, toxic, rich people. It's not about money. It's about who you are as a person. So even if the person on paper might look like they're doing better than you, they can still very much be jealous and envious and miserable toward you, all because of how you carry yourself. It's not about what you have, it's about who you are. And when they see something on the inside of you that is different from them, you're not so caught up in drama, you prefer peace over chaos, they will vilify you. They will look at you and say things like, oh, you think you're better than us? Oh, you think this, you think that. They will have little battles with you that you have no idea about until you get in the same room with them. Ladies, people are going to be jealous and envious of you regardless of what you do or don't do. There are some people who will be envious and jealous of the fact that you are able to enjoy your life and you're not overly stressed. There will be people who are jealous of you because you have that good, high-powered, high-paying job. There will be some people who are jealous of you because you have a healthy relationship. There will be some people who are jealous of you because you are now a street sweeper, because you are a cashier at a store. The point that I'm making is that no matter what you do or what you don't do, there will always be somebody who is side-eyeing you out of their jealousy, envy, and overall hateration. So why not live your life doing exactly what you want to do? A woman who is confident, feminine, leveled up, she does not live her life worrying about what other people think about what she is doing. She doesn't dim her light and scale herself back in order to make other people feel comfortable. You have to ask yourself, you dumbing yourself down, you not pursuing the things that you want to do, you not living the kind of life that you want to live out of fear of what other people may think, out of fear of other people talking about you, out of fear of other people being jealous of you and disliking you, how is that helping you? How is that helping you to evolve and elevate as a woman? How is that putting money in your purse? How is that paying your bills? How is that making you look cute? It's not. See, it took me a long time to get out of that mode of caring so much about how it looks to everybody else, because I believe for women, a lot of the times that's what holds us back from pursuing the life that we really want to live. We're afraid of how it's going to look to other people. We're afraid that we're somehow going to disappoint somebody. We're somehow going to be the object of somebody's jealousy and envy. We're going to be somebody's gossip. We're going to be somebody that now people look at a little bit funny simply because we decided to live our lives the way that is best for us. But when you recognize that living the kind of life you want to live and doing the things that are best for you and how it's going to make you feel and how it's going to benefit you and the people that are in your close sphere of influence, when you think about that, when you think about the pros of doing whatever it is you want to do or living how you want to live, and the upside of that, you quickly begin to forget about what other people think. I'll give you my own story. See, for me, I've always been the kind of woman who worked outside the home. I always have my own thing. I'm working for different companies, very much a working girl. I'm very much the kind of woman that's like, if my name or if I'm employed with these big brands, that's like some kind of pride for me. And it's because I've been programmed to think that way. I used to work for two different banks. I used to work for Citizens Bank and I used to work for Bank of America. Bank of America is a big deal. So is Citizens, but Bank of America is a big deal. And to be a banker at Bank of America, that sounds like very, and even what I do now, I'm working for that company. That's a big brand. That's a big name. So the idea of me leaving that in order to pursue the thing that I think is going to be best for me, it takes a lot for me to get out of that mode of saying, okay, what are people going to think if I leave this brand of company, this corporation? How is that going to look? Opposed to me doing something that I know is going to benefit me in the long run. Having a career that doesn't overstimulate me, not dealing with people who drive me absolutely crazy, not having to put myself in these positions where I'm not getting adequate sleep, not putting myself in these positions where now I feel drained and I don't have anything left for my family. See, I know career and money is often a lot of the things that hold women back. And a lot of women like to not go after the things they're passionate about or their dreams and things they truly know will benefit them and impact other people in a positive way, simply because they're trying to keep up with the status quo. They're trying to make everything look like on paper the way it should look in order to avoid people judging them, people putting them down, people saying that maybe you're lazy or you got to be, make sure you don't do this, that fear factor that a lot of people try to put into you. But you really have to think, and this is the reason why I definitely encourage women to have times of solitude where you just get by yourself, you and God, of course, the way I see it, and really think about what you want to do with your life. Minus somebody else's opinion, minus what somebody else is going to think about it, minus somebody else really trying to put fear into you and get you to second guess yourself. Think about the life you want to live. When you think about that and you recognize that the thing you want to accomplish or the kind of woman you want to be outweighs somebody else's opinion, you will start moving differently. When you realize, you know what, I don't want to be tired all the time. I don't want to be overworked. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be around miserable people. I don't want to have to answer to somebody constantly. When your why and the reason why you want to do what you want to do outweighs somebody else's opinion, you will start moving more confidently in your life. And this just doesn't apply to a job. This also applies to how you take care of yourself. As women, many of us have been programmed to believe that being overworked, being stressed, looking worn down and tired is somehow our birthright, and it is not as a woman. Some women have forgotten how to be women because they've had to be so serious their entire life. And I'm not saying being a grown woman, you don't take care of your business, but it's how you go about taking care of your business, how you go about conducting your life. See, some women have to get back to that little girl side of them. Some women need to get back to that just free flowy and just being side of them. And a lot of women are not living that way simply because they care too much about what people are going to say about them.